Hi, I'm Mr. Weilert. I'm the debate forensics coach here at Buhler High School, if you don't know me. First off, just a lot of thank yous before we get rolling, and I'm going to turn it over to the students and let them run the show. First off, I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. Last March, our season got cut short, just like it did any other sport. I always talk about debate forensics being an academic sport. And so some of these kids didn't get a chance to compete in the state tournament last year, and then this year was entirely virtual, which means that on the weekend, normally if they made finals, they would get to go in front of a room full of their peers and perform, and if you're doing a humor solo, you know, you can hear 30, 40 of your peers laughing at you, and it's really a cool experience. They didn't get any of that. It was very sterile this year. They would come in, we didn't get to travel. And so for some of them, other than our classroom, this is the first time they're going to get a chance to perform in front of human beings. And I'm hoping they're not nervous. Are any of you guys nervous for doing this first time? See, they're actors. They're all lying. So that's good. I also want to thank the parents for the support this year. I know it's been tough on everybody, especially these students, and I'll thank them here in a second. But thank you, the parents that stepped up and gave foods for the snack or swag bag, I guess they call it here at Buhler. Really appreciate that. I know they did. Lastly, I want to thank the students. I've been doing this nearly 30 years, and I told these guys this. Even in spite of the season we've had and what we had to deal with as far as being virtual, I've never had a team work harder from start to finish. They're still working hard. A lot of kids will kind of fade out as the season goes. There's only 18 of us on this squad, and as we go through the night, a couple of our hosts will be talking about some of the accomplishments of this. I've coached teams that have 80 kids on it before, and this group of 18 has accomplished as much as some of those teams, just because they're go-getters and really cool kids. And thank you for letting me be your coach. Woo! Yeah. I'm going to be real short here, and you won't have to hear me talk again. I also want to thank my wife, who's my assistant coach. Stacia, where are you at here? Yeah, standing in the back. She's been doing this with me. She's been here 34 years. I think she's been doing this with me 30 of those, so thank you. I'm going to turn this over to, actually turn the lights back up. I want to recognize my team. They're not all here tonight. Go ahead and stand and turn and face the crowd. Not everybody's going to get to perform tonight. I shortened it to 9 performances. You have to understand, this group has been so competitive that I could have put 31 different performances up here tonight that all qualify for a state tournament, which means they finished first or second in a tournament. They were just an amazing group. I had to handpick 9. I tried to pick kids that were selected for the state champ team and pick one of their pieces. So if you give them a round of applause, they haven't had all right. And then, this looks like I went into Mr. Elligood's mailbox. I just checked this just before I came in here. It was in my mailbox, but it's addressed to Mr. Elligood, so I don't think it's mail fraud if it's in a school mailbox. But it's from the National Speech and Debate Association. This is kind of cool. It says, "Dear Mike Elligood, on behalf of the National Speech and Debate Association, I'm proud to congratulate your student, Elizabeth Workman, for earning the National Speech and Debate Association Academic American Award. This coveted award recognizes academic rigor, competitive speech and debate success, and personal excellence. For more than 141,000 student members of the National Speech and Debate Association, fewer than 1% students earn the Academic All-American Award every year. This is a tremendous accomplishment and places your student among the top 1% of all student members across the country." So, Ms. Workman, good day. It's going to be kind of relaxed. We didn't have a very good dress rehearsal. We're going to change mics in front of you. This is not going to be Broadway. But Ms. Workman and Mr. Kenny Kavanaugh will be your hosts for tonight. The reason they both qualify for state in speech events, and it's not that their speeches weren't amazing. We're doing different type of performances, but these two also, I should point out, not along with being amazing speakers, also both qualified acting events, prose events, to the state tournament, so they're very versatile. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kavanaugh and Ms. Workman at this time.
your host tonight. He did say that we were like amazing speakers, whatever. He really just had to compliment us, but I truly believe we are up here though, because he kind of felt bad for us.
I mean, speak for yourself. At least I actually placed in state.
I get regular haircuts.
Well, speaking of hair, up next is one of the only other more successful blondes on the team, performing his humorous solo piece, Jackson Allen.
Video blog 1. So that's, coming along. I'm working to the vocal coach right now, strengthening the part. A lot of guys ignore the laugh. And that's just about standards. I mean, if you're going to make it into the evil league of evil, you have to have a memorable laugh. What? Don't you think Bad Horse worked on his whinny? His terrible death whinny? No response BTW from the league yet, but my application this year is strong. A letter of condemnation from the deputy mayor. That's gotta carry some weight, so fingers crossed. When I was younger, I wanted to be a superhero. I put my tiny buddies on my head, looking out through the lead holes, I tie a towel around my neck, and I be transformed into Insect Man. But as I started my sophomore year, I realized it might be time to put that away. Because although being Insect Man was super awesome and cool, I mean really super awesome and cool. No, really. It wasn't who I truly am. And the losing who I wasn't worth the fame and glory that surely would have followed had I worn the costume to school every day. Being true to yourself is how you become a real hero. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog by Joss White. My nemesis is Captain Hammer. Captain Hammer, that corporate tool. He broke my shoulder. Again. Oh my gosh. This is his email address. A video from Bad Horse. Battles, he rides across the nation, the thoroughbred sin. He got the application that you just sent in. It needs evaluation, so let the games begin. A heinous crime is show what's the title, suicide battles. Nay! Definitely. Whew. This is fantastic. I'm already about to pull off a major heist. The wonderflonium that I need for the freeze ray, it's coming today in a courier van. Oh no, Penny! Hey, I know you. You do? I mean, you do you? Yeah, from the laundromat. Wednesdays and Fridays except twice last month, you kid. But that could have been something else. I mean, I've seen you too. Billy is my name. Hey, I'm actually volunteering for the Karen Hand Summer Shelter. Would you care to sign the petition? I don't know. You don't really care about the homeless, do you? No, I do. I mean, I wouldn't want to turn my back on a fellow laundry person. Thanks. Maybe I'll see you there. She talked to me. She actually talked to me. Why should she talk to me right now? Penny, look out for the van. Stand back, everyone. Yes, Captain Hammer's here. Thank you, Hammerman. I don't think I can explain how important it was that you set the van. I couldn't have started. Don't worry about it, miss. Seems destiny ends with me saving you. Stop looking at her like that, seriously. Whatever, at least I got the wonderphonium. Video blog 2. The wait is over, my friends. This is the freeze ray. And with the addition of the wonderphonium that I achieved at my famously successful heist last week, I stayed successful in that I achieved my objective. It was less successful in that I inadvertently introduced the girl of my dreams to my arch nemesis, and now they're probably gonna French kiss her. What was I talking about again? Right, the freezer. As of tonight, I am in the evil league of evil. If everything goes according to plan, which it will, because I have a PhD in horribleness. See you at the aftermath. So the freezer needs a little bit of work. I also need to be a little bit more careful about what I say on this video blog, because apparently Captain Hammer is among our viewers, and he was waiting for me, and the freezer takes a couple seconds to warm up, so in that time he threw a car at my head. But no need to worry, because, oh, another video from Bad Horse. Bad Horse, you saw the operation you tried to pull today, and your humiliation with these still bolts nay, and now assassination is just the only way. Bad Horse, no! Definitely. Whew. Thanks for meeting me here at this laundromat, Penny. You know, I just think I'm really qualified for this job, and I can't seem to get my foot in the door.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I mean, it's just like Captain Hammer's always saying. Everything happens for a reason.
Right. Him.
Well, I'm actually curious to know what you're thinking because you might stop by later.
Stop by here? Oh, would you look at the time? I gotta go.
Billy, I'd like to introduce you to Captain Hammer.
Oh, right, the laundry buddy. It's very nice to... Sorry, you just seem horribly familiar. Would anyone like to know what the mayor's doing later? He's signing over a building for the homeless.
Really?
Really? It turns out the only signature he needed was my fist. With a pen in it, because I was signing. Wow, that's just great. See you, Penny. It was very nice to meet you, Doctor. It seems you've got a little crush, Doc. Well, that's gonna make this hard to hear because I have a little crush on Penny too. You see, later tonight I'm gonna take her back to my place. You think she'll like that? I think she likes me. You see, she's with the Hammer, and this is not the Hammer. I now know who I'm gonna kill. As mayor of the city, I'd like to say that justice has a name. And well, beside justice, that name is Captain Hammer. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, your hero, Captain Hammer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hate the homeless. Next, that plagues this city. I also think that everyone should have what they need to survive. You see, when I fell deeply in love with my long-term girlfriend, Penny, she's right there, kind of the quiet, nerdy type, not really my usual, but nice. Anyways, she kind of got me into this whole homelessness thing, and, well, I realized I'm not the only hero here tonight. Everyone's got villains they must face. They're not as cool as mine, but folks, it's fine to know your place. Everyone's a hero in their own way. You, and you, and you, but mostly me. I see how people are beginning to fear me. Good, because I cause pain you can't suffer quiet. It's time for this world to burn, 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 baby. Nice work with that freezer, horrible, but what's this? A death ray? Well, say hello to St. Peter or whoever has his job, but in hell. Oh shoot, the mayor. I hate you, Captain Hammer. It's time for you to end. No! No! Why?
Don't worry, Billy. Captain Hammer will save me.
No, Penny, why? Wow. That's so ironic. I guess I'm gonna make it into the league after all. Nailed it. Thank you.
That's an amazing performance, at least compared to some blondes. They have a bit of a track record.
Well, with all of this name calling and bullying, it's really reminding me of Hayden Warner's poetry piece. And would you look at that? He's up next. Don't worry, everyone. You're in for a treat here.
This one goes out to those who fight every day for the simple right to exist. For every gay kid for being beaten up for being gay. And for every straight kid for being beaten up for being gay. For every band geek who picked up a guitar, or a drumstick, or a French horn instead of a bomb. And for every poet who picked up a pen instead of a gun and expressed their anger with ink and not blood. I am a wussy boy. High school is scary. Really, really scary. There's all sorts of changes that come with it in your mind, in your workload, and your body. And it's not the same for everyone. You've got the jocks and the nerds and the cheerleaders. Wait, are cheerleaders jocks? Anyway. Then you have the wussy boys, or the chickens, or the scaredy cats. Call them whatever you want, but I am one. And you'll see that in the following pieces. Wussy Boy by Big Papa E, V for Virgin by George Watsky, Firework by Katy Perry, and, of course, Air Raid Vehicle by Limp Bizkit. This is for those among us that got enough play through 12th grade to carry a teaspoon upside down. For every kid with the collective romantic prowess of Steve Urkel. Did I do that? Richard Simmons and Screech from Saved by the Bell. This is the anthem for those among us that got none in our formative years. And this poem is for every high school virgin who would have had it any other way. I am a wussy boy, and it's taken me a long time to admit it. I remember shouting in high school, "No, Dad, I'm not gay, I'm just a little sensitive." I tried to like guy stuff like hot rods, jet planes, Budweiser poster girls, and football, but I just never got the hang of it. I don't know what's wrong with me. Then I looked around and saw other wussy boys living large and proud of who they were, unafraid to prove to the world that sensitive guys rock. Now, I am no longer ashamed of my wussiness. I am empowered by it. I can't rock your world, but oh man, I can cuddle. And when I pull up to a stoplight and some redneck testosterone jock frat jerkwad pulls up beside me, cranking his Trans Am stereo with his power chord anthems, back up, tell me what you gonna do now. I no longer avert my gaze. Oh no, I just crank all 12 watts of my car stereo and I rock out right to his face. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show him what you're worth. Make him go, I am human, and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. I am wussy boy, hear me roar. Meow. It's time to reclaim the high school virgin as sexy. I'm talking, man, that's some sexy peach fuzz sexy. He's so sexy, his homework, the laundry, and the dishes do themselves around him. Yes, I'm definitely also talking. Check out the curves on that parabola sexy. But mostly, this is regular kid sexy. So hold your heads high in the struggle. Have pride in the struggle. You don't know the possibilities of a weekend until you've cracked a 4-pack of juice squeeze with your boys. And watched an entire Star Trek The Next Generation marathon. For me, Virgin was working. And I could see why Trekkies greet each other by throwing up the letter V. Bar fight? You think you can take me? Why? Just because I like poetry better than Sports Illustrated? Well, allow me to caution you, for I am not the average, everyday, one-of-the-mill wussy boy you used to beat up in high school, punk. And this is for every kid who couldn't get it, didn't want to get it, and for those that had it and gave it back. Biggie Smalls knows y'all max, so throw your B's in the air, cause you a true player, and we're side to side, like you just don't care. Do not make me get Renaissance on you, because I will write a poem about you. A poem that will tear your psyche limb from limb, that will expose your insecurities, and that will wound you deeper and more severely than knives, chains, gads, and baseball bats can ever hope to do. You may see 70 inches of wussy boy standing in front of you, but my steel-toed soul is 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Bring the pain, punk, beat on me, show everything this bar what real man can do to a fast-talking wussy boy like me. But you better remember, my bruises will fade, my cuts will heal, and my scars will shrink and disappear. But my poem about the pitiful, small, helpless oppressor you really are will last forever. And for everyone here who is ever a virgin, and for everyone here who's ever loved themselves for who they are, throw those arms towards the sky and understand that at least one dorky white boy knows that that's the sexiest arm he's seen in his entire life. Most of all, this one goes out to the kid listening right now, who thinks that I cannot possibly be talking to them. The quiet kid, the one that never raises their hand or their voice, the ones with no friends, who's never been on a date, the one ignored by parents, teachers, preachers, and other kids. Yes, this one goes out to you. Know this. I understand you. I hear you. I used to be you. Don't let anyone say your voice has no value. Raise your voice and don't ever stop. Thank you.
Amazing performance. I mean, it's amazing to see some people be able to overcome their voice.
I'm sure you know all about that canon. But our coach says we can't use this time just to make fun of each other, so we are presenting you with some
Factual. Starting off, 100% of the team this year got a medal at some point. With 129 medalists overall, and 83% of the team fully qualified for state championships.
Now up next are two people who helped contribute to those numbers, Deborah Simmons and Tegan Nielsen, with their duo interpretation, which is my only insight into what Bible camp is like.
Good morning, campers. I'm Gloria, that's Gloria, and I'm going to be your camp social director. Say, are we ready to have a fun-filled week or what? You know, Camp Sunshine is just one of the biggest and the best Bible camps in all of Arkansas. And you know why? Because God created it. Yes, He did. One day, God was walking down Interstate 129 right outside of Little Rock and said, hey, this would be a great place for a camp. Yes, He did. It's in the Bible somewhere. No, Lucille, don't look for it. It's in the newer versions only. No one ever knows where life will take them unless forced at knife point by their parents. And the people you meet along the way can be so impactful.
As sledgehammers because they're nuts.
What a beautiful world we all live in.
It's just in. Webster's never finds beautiful as please help me.
Camp Sunshine,
More like camp torture.
back in Bradbury.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, from your lonely and abandoned daughter Lucille. This is my first day at camp. I hate it here. The social director reminds me of Aunt Midge, the one that nobody loves. My bunkmate is a girl named Margot, who spends all her small group prayer time staring at boys' butts. This is her 8th year here, and she's sent a different boy every year. It's the only reason she comes, she says. Christian boys are easier to fool, and their daddies drive nice cars. We're supposed to meet the athletic director this afternoon. His name is Uncle Ernie. I hope he's nice.
All right, you guys, let me make one thing clear. When you climb that styrofoam mountain tonight, I want you to climb like the devil himself is right on your butt. You hear me? I'm Uncle Ernie, and I'm in charge of showing you guys love through athletics. For this next week, I'm going to be your mama. I'm going to be your daddy, and I'm going to stop just one step short of God himself. And I even got my eyes on that. You ever heard Gabriel? He's a by golly stomping like an angel, and I'm not talking no wimpy little limp-wristed turd here. I'm talking power, gentlemen. When I say power, you say power. Power, power, amen.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, Uncle Ernie is a creep. Today he ran head first into an oak tree to show us how God's love can protect us. I guess God must have been looking the other way because he nearly bashed his brains in. He has a concussion, but said it only made him tougher for God. Now he's not only a creep, but a stupid creep. Will you please come get me?
Good morning, campers. It's Gloria again. That's Gloria. And how are my little campers on their second day of Camp Sunshine? Honky Dory, that's a Camp Sunshine spirit. So, today we got a few things planned for you. First, the Isaiah group will be going down to Craft Hall to do, you guessed it, leather and beadwork. Our leather coordinator, Aunt Ruth, will be showing you how to make the coolest belts and purses and bookmarks out of the neatest leather and beads. Today's extra special projects will be the 7 plates of Egypt bookmarker. Next, the Jeremiah group will be going on our world-famous great books of the Bible bird hunt. Be sure to take your guns with you. Then, the Joshua group, who was supposed to be going with Uncle Ernie to make a road bridge across Gator Swamp, Uncle Ernie isn't quite feeling himself tonight, but he'll be back again after brain surgery tomorrow. Instead, the Joshua group will be spending one fun-filled hour of memorizing the first book of Kings to the Sandy Patty page. Wow, I sure wish I was in that group.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, Margot was caught making out with Skip Henderson during evening vespers and flag raising. They're making her wash dishes with a nun for punishment. Dear Spike, this is Skip. They say I gotta write a lousy letter every day, and I hate to write, so I thought I'd write to you, since you can barely read. I met this really hot chick named Margot, and they caught us making out last night, but it was totally worth it. Now, I don't think she's a Baptist. And when I've heard the old man say, I'd say she was a Democrat.
All right, you guys, it's Uncle Ernie again. Satan dealt me a powerful blow with that oak tree, but you can't keep a man of God down for too long. Today is the day we've all been waiting for, Talent Day. So, first, we have a few cancellations. Uncle Ernie will not be doing his acts due to third-degree burns on the right arm, but on the other hand, the Isaiah group will be performing the Messiah hymns on the spoons. Give it up for the Isaiah group. Dear Skip, this is Margot. Meet me out at Retribution Point.
Dear Margot, this is Skip. How will I find you in the dark?
Dear idiot, feel your way around.
Dear Smarto, that's how I got in trouble at the flag raising.
Alright, you guys, it's Uncle Ernie again, and like I said, can't keep a man of God down for too long. Today, I want to talk to you guys about suffering. Oh, I know, the robins are singing, and your little hormones are running wild like jackrabbits in a bush park, but I'm well self-controlled in that, until you draw my scent in the Marine Corps.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, it's been a dull day. Margot and Skip were excommunicated from the Baptist Church. We met for the ceremony last night out on the Love, Hope, and Charity Memorial softball field. Margot was stripped of all her Sunday school perfect attendance pins, and Uncle Ernie baptized Skip in a really cold shower. Gloria now has us listening to tapes of the story of David and Bathsheba as read by Charlton Heston. Now, I asked her who Charlton Heston was. She said he was mentioned in the Bible, but I can't find him yet. She says that I need to end the newer version.
Good morning, campers. It's Gloria again. That's Gloria. And here we are on our final day of Camp Sunshine. I just don't know if I can wait a whole year to see you little guys back here. As you take your final Camp Sunshine Bible quiz, I want you to think of me, Gloria. That's Gloria, Gloria. And what an inspiration I have been to you all.
Dear Mommy and Daddy, I know you're coming to pick me up today, but this will save me from having to tell you on the ride home. I think I flunked my Happy Camper test. The test was over the great Bible heroes, and Gloria asked if there were any questions, so I asked her what baguette meant, since it seems that's all they ever did. She's making me wash dishes with a nun for punishment. I asked her if Catholics forget, and she said yes, but they are forgiven. Then I asked her if Baptists forget, and she said no, they just share.
Alright, you guys, it's Uncle Ernie. And I want to say, first off, it has been an honor and a pleasure to be your camp athletic director. And secondly, I want to apologize to the Isaiah group for what happened in the cabin last night. I have eaten glass on several occasions in service of the Lord, but this is the first time I ever got hiccups. Caught a little word that Majorie Swanson got most of the fragments out of her eye, but definitely come back again next year where the theme will be, if Job hadn't suffered, he would have never made the NFL.
Dear Margot, this is Lucille. I'm sending this letter home with your parole officer. He says he'll be seeing you every week. I'm really sorry about what happened with you and Skip. Gloria said you both must have had some Methodist in your blood to pull such a trick. I've got to go. I see Mommy and Daddy's car pulling up Damnation Boulevard now. But I kind of hope they didn't get all my letters. I'd like to come back and apply for the position of athletic director. Love you, Lucille.
Thank you.
Even though I've never been to Bible camp, I really felt a passion in that one. I think I understand it now, all those gospel hymns. But I have to give the other half of all of our fun little factoids. So, we qualified 31 different events to state, as my coach previously stated. This is a pretty big deal. It comes with the fact that 16 is a full entry. So it means we almost doubled our entry availability, which basically means that we're pretty cool. But in total, we had 57 events qualified. This is including multiples, but that's a pretty big accomplishment. You'll find bigger teams that can't even qualify half that amount. So I'm pretty impressed, but we have the same passion for forensics that Gloria seems to have for God.
And continuing that trend of passion for Christ, we see Natalie Guys performing her prose piece.
Originated in France, came the quote, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." This meaning, revenge is at its best when it is well thought out, well planned, well executed, but especially unexpected. This is Kittens by King James. But she continued to wonder, why, when there were hundreds upon thousands of kittens in the world, did God have to take that poor of hers? Was he selfish? This was the first she had thought of those kittens for some time. In the past 12 months, much had happened to make her forget. When things began to lose momentum again in March, her mother had given birth to twins. Marty had been surprised at how small they were and how slowly they seemed to grow in the following weeks. Here it was June again. The twins were 3 months old and finally beginning to grow a great deal heavier. And everything was getting dull again. Therefore, when she heard her father telling her mother that Pinky was going to have another litter, she grasped at the news and wrenched every drop of excitement she could from it. And, as events ran their natural course, Pinky slunk away and had the kittens during the night in the dark corner of the barn. There were 6 in this litter, all gray with black spots, some of them hastily blotted. She liked the kittens, and she knew word about them. What if God were watching again like last year? "What are you doing, Marty?" She didn't have to look. She knew he was behind her. But out of difference, she turned away and saw her father glaring down at her. "Throwing stones?" she answered quietly. "At the fish?" "Oh, no, sir, just throwing stones." "Do we remember who was a victim of throwing stones?" "St. Stephen," she answered. "Very good. Supper's ready." She sat, ramrod stiff in the old green easy chair, looking attentive as her father read to them from the ancient family Bible. Her mother sat next to her father on the dark blue corduroy couch, hands folded in her lap. "Suffer the little children to come to me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God." Her father closed the book with a gentle sigh. No one spoke for 7 minutes. Then, "What chapter of what book did we just read, Marty?" "St. Mark, chapter 10. "Fine. Father, what about the kittens?" "What about them?" "Will God take them away again this year?" "Perhaps." He can't." "Are you saying what God can and cannot do, young lady?" "No, sir." "God can do anything." "Yes, sir, but why would he want my kittens? Why always mine?" "I've had quite enough of this, Marnie. Now be quiet." "But why mine?" He stood, suddenly crossed a chair and slapped her delicate face. A thick trickle of blood slipped from the corner of her mouth, and she wiped it away with the palm of her hand. "You must not doubt God's motives. Now get up those stairs and to bed." She walked slowly up the steps, allowing her hand to run along the smooth, polished. In her parents' chamber, her mother was cooing to the twins, changing their diapers. "God's little angels," she heard her mother say. Her father was tickling them, and she could hear the angels chuckling, a deep gurgle that rippled down from their fat throats. Neither her father nor her mother came to say goodnight. She was being punished. Marnie was sitting in the barn, petting one of the gray kittens. The kitten mewed and pawed at the air below her chin. "Where's Marnie?" Her father's voice boomed from somewhere in the yard between the house and barn. "I sent her to Brown's to get a rescue from Helen. She'll be gone in another 20 minutes. "That's plenty of time." Marnie knew something was wrong. Something was happening that she wasn't supposed to see. Quickly, she put the kitten back in the red and gold box and sprawled behind a pile of straw to watch. Her father drew a bucket of water from the wall tap and placed it in front of the kittens. He turned to the box of kittens. Carefully, he lifted one by the scruff of the neck, petted twice, and thrust its head under the water in the bucket. There was a violent crashing. Sparkles of water sprayed into the air. Why? Her father lifted the limp body from the bucket. Soon 6 kittens were dead. Soon 6 silent furballs were dropped in a burlap sack, the top twisted shut. Marnie lay very still for a long time, thinking of nothing but the execution, trying desperately to understand. Had God sent her father? Was it God who told him to kill the kittens? To take them away from her? If it were, she didn't see how she could ever again stand before the golden white altar, accepting communion. Did you get the recipe? Asked her mother as Marnie slammed the kitchen door. Miss Brown didn't find it. She'll send it over tomorrow. She lied so well, she surprised herself. Did God take my kittens? Her mother looked confused, and yes was all she seemed to say. I'll get even with God! You can't do that! You can't! She ran out of the kitchen towards the staircase. Her mother watched, but didn't try to stop her. Marnie Copper walked slowly up the steps to the twins, allowing her hand to run on the smooth, polished wooden railing. At noon, when Walter Caulfield came in from the field, he heard a loud crash and the tinkling of china and the shattering of glass. He rushed into the living room to see his wife laying at the foot of the stairs, novelty table, upset, statuettes broken, cracked. Mary! Mary, are you hurt? He went quickly to her side. She looked up at him out of eyes that were far away in the distance. What? My good God! She could hear the angels chuckling, a deep gurgle that rippled out of their fat throats. Walt! Our precious angels! There was a violent thrashing from within. Sparkling droplets of water sprayed into the air. Walt! The baptism of our precious angels! Thank you.
You know, Hayden, when you described it as continuing on with the passion for Christ, I didn't think it was going to be doing that. I mean, someone's dad was definitely a dog person.
Dog person's putting it a little lightly, but yeah. Anywho, next up with his series solo act, Jonah Morgan.
So I stopped at Jack in the Box on the way here, and the lady behind the counter asked me, "Hi, are you having an awesome day?" Not, "Hi, how are you doing today?" But no, "Are you having an awesome day?" Just kind of awful because it puts the onus on me to disagree with her. Like, if I'm not having an awesome day, suddenly I'm the negative one. Usually when somebody asks me how I'm doing, the real answer is I'm doing awful. But I can't say I'm doing awful because then everybody's always like, "Why? What's wrong?" And I have to be like, "I don't know, all of it." So usually when somebody asks me how I'm doing, I just say, "I am doing so great." But today, when the woman at the Jack in the Box asked me how I was doing, I thought, well, today I'm allowed to feel awful. Today I have a good reason. So I said, well, my mom died. Roman philosopher Seneca famously stated that we can't choose our parents. The reality of the situation is it's a lottery, and some win, and some aren't as lucky. But despite that, children always chase understanding in relationships completely devoid of it, always wondering why they never got the love and attention and affection that they always wanted. We see a young man at his mother's coffin with only a picture of her, trying to find some closure. Free Churro by Raphael Paul Blacksburg. So she immediately bursts into tears, which is annoying because now I have to comfort her. Meanwhile, there's a line of people down behind me giving me really judgy looks telling me the Jack in the Box don't cry. And she's bawling, saying, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's fine, it's fine, it's fine." I mean, it's not fine, but it's fine. And I like to order double Jack meal, and I kind of got somewhere to be, so maybe less with the crying and more with the frying, huh? And she apologizes again, and she offers me a free churro with my meal. No one ever tells you when your mom dies that you get a free churro. Anyways, here I am, practicing a eulogy for my mother. Mom, who was she? What was her deal? Well, she was born in 1928. She died in 2018. One time she went to a parade, and the other time she smoked an entire cigarette in one long inhale. I watched her do it. She was a remarkable woman. Lived a full life that we all the way to the end, which is just now, I guess. It really makes you think, though, huh? Life, right? Goes by, stuff happens, and then you die. Well, you've been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much. I tip your waitress. I'm just kidding. There is no waitress, but really, that's all I have to say about my mother. So, now what? You got any ideas, Mom? Hey, not once if you're proud of me. Can I say how great it is to be in a room with my mother, and for once she isn't telling me to sit down and shut up or go make her a drink? Hey, Mom, not once if you think I should sit down or let someone else talk. Are you sure? I mean, I don't want to embarrass you by turning this eulogy into a me-logy, so seriously, if you want someone else to talk, just not once, I will not be offended. No? Your funeral. Sorry about the closed casket, by the way. I know you wanted an open casket, but you're dead now, so who cares what you want? I'm sorry, that sounds really bad. Oh, here's a story about my mother. Back in high school, I was doing a stand-up routine for one of our talent shows. And there's this jacket I really wanted because I thought maybe it looked like Albert Brooks. And for months on end, I saved up for this jacket. And then when the day finally came to buy it, it was gone. They just sold it to somebody else. Naturally, I went home and told my mother, and she said to me, "Let that be a lesson to you, kid. That's the good that comes from wanting things." Mom always had a knack for dispensing life lessons that circled back to everything being my fault. But on the day of the talent show, Mom had a surprise for me. She bought me the jacket, and even though she didn't say it, I knew this was her way of telling me that she truly loved me. And that's a good story about my mom. It's not true, but it's a good story. I still live for an episode of Maude I saw on TV. Everything I learned about being a good person, I learned from TV. And on TV, characters are always doing these grand, surprising gestures to show their love for one another. And I think part of me still believes that's what love is. That even though your parents may not be what you need them to be at any point in time, that maybe, just maybe, the gesture's enough. But it isn't. In real life, you need to be good. Dependably good. And that is so hard. I was with my mother in those last moments in the hospital, and they were truly horrifying, full of nonsensical screams and cries. But there was this moment of strange calm where she looked in my direction and she said, "I see you." Not a statement of rejection, but acceptance. "Hello, you're a person. I see you." Let me tell you, it's a weird thing to feel for the first time in your life that your mother sees you. And it doesn't feel nice to be seen. It feels mean. Like, oh, it turns out you knew what I wanted the entire time, but you waited the very last second to give it to me. I was prepared for more cruelty. I was prepared for comments about how I'm too fat or too stupid or too tall to be an effective Lindy Hopper. All of that I was ready for. I was not ready for, "I see you." Only my mother would be lousy enough to swipe me with a moment of connection on her way out, but maybe it wasn't about connection. Maybe it was "I see you," like, "I see you." Like, you might have the rest of the world fooled, but I know exactly who you are. That's one I'll see you. Or maybe when someone says, "I see you," they just mean, "Hello, you are an object that has entered my field of vision, and I see you." She was pretty out of it at the end, so maybe it's dumb to try to attribute to anything. But maybe she saw my dad. My dad died about 10 years ago, and he sustained during a duel. A duel. Now, when your dad dies, you ask yourself a lot of questions like, wait, did you say he died in a duel? And who dies in a duel? The whole thing was so stupid. Tripped over an exposed root and bashed his head with a rock. I wish I'd known to go to Jack in the Box then. Would have been nice to have something to show for being the son of my father. But my darling mother gave a eulogy, and my entire life I never heard her say a kind word to or about my father. But on the day of the funeral, she said, "My husband is dead, and everything is worse now." My husband is dead, and everything is worse. What did you mean by that, Mom? Maybe she felt like that's the kind of thing that you're supposed to say. Hopes that someone would say that about her someday. Or maybe she just meant that she'd have to sell all her fancy jewelry and move into a home. Is that what she meant, Mom? Nothing? Staying mum? Can I just say, I am like really carrying the devil out here, at least with Penn and Teller don't quite on his card tricks. You know, my mother knew what it was like to live your entire life like you're drowning, except for these very brief instances where you remember that you can swim. But mostly not. Mostly you're drowning, and she understood that too, and I understood that, and I like to think that that's what she meant when she said, I see you. Listen, I'm not going to stand up here and pretend I never understood how to please this woman. I just keep going back to those final moments in the ICU where she looked at me and she said, I see you. I see you. V-I-C-U. She was just reading the sign. My mother died, and all I got is a free trial. You know what the worst part about all this is? That woman behind the Jack in the Box counter showed me more compassion than my mother did in her entire life. I mean, how hard is it to do something nice for a person? That woman didn't even know me, and I am your son, and all I had was you! You know what it's like? It's like even though you never admit it, that part of you, that stupidest part of you, that always hoped for a relationship with your parents, is gone now because they are dead, and you will never, ever get that chance. Because my mother is dead, and everything is worse now. Thank you.
Wasn't a mama's boy. That's so inappropriate.
You wrote the joke.
Moving on from that, I wish I could say that I'm bringing you all on a more happier note with this next piece, but up next is Ella Yingling, performing her serious solo act. Give her a hand.
For hours upon hours. It was the do not go in room of our house. But the reason for its inaccessibility only unveiled itself to me in the summer of '05. The first time I tried sneaking into his room was when I was looking for my bug box. Children and teens have to carry the burden of living up to their parents' expectations. And in order to do so, sometimes we have to hide things. Things that may keep us from being what our parents believe us to be. Now, what is in the box isn't necessarily an item or yet even a collection of things, yet it's simply something we want to hide. The Box by Aaron Van Burr. That bug box had recently proven itself to be my prized possession, so I was distraught at its sudden disappearance. Just the other day, I had caught a grasshopper in it, and it was only a matter of time before it would shrivel up and die. That is, unless I retrieved my bug box and released it back into the wild. Just the other day, I found a large box in the corner of Sam's room, and it wasn't quite the size of my bug box, but it had the potential to contain it. Sam had duct taped the lid shut, so I resorted to gnawing through it with the idea that I was heroically saving a grasshopper's life. Footsteps. I knew they were Sam's. I turned and I saw him in the doorframe. Get out of my room! In one motion, he picked me up off the ground, and he was 14, and he was just huge for his age. He was huge, and he dropped me onto the ground. What are you doing in my room? underneath my bed, and the grasshopper lay there, dead, stiff, arms sticking up in the air, almost taunting my failure. Look at me, I'm dead. You could have saved me. My parents held their lawn party at the peak of summer, and they invited their usual crowd of friends. But as for my friends, we played in the street all day. That is, until Mom called me over for dinner. Where's your brother? He left. Well, where did he go? I told her I didn't know. But at around 10, Sam had tried to sneak past the party undetected. Sam, get down here, son. Get down here. Sam's face felt cold. My dad threw his arm around Sam's shoulder. We're toasting, son. To what? To America, of course. We do things. We're strong. This country was built off of the backs of our soldiers. Now drink, Sam, drink. Not like that. Not like a girl. Drink. Dad tipped the bottle at a drastic angle, and Sam coughed it up as the rest of the adults in the party laughed. Sam joined me on the porch, and he was quiet, and he wasn't snappy like he usually was. He missed the fireworks. Well, were they? Well, they were red and blue, and the last one was sparkly. America's bullcrap. I concur. I learned that word a few weeks ago in school, and I thought it sounded appropriate. I want to move to Canada. I thought he was being angry just for the sake of being angry, like he usually was. Well, Canada's cool. They have cool animals. You could ride a moose. I was searching for the motivation behind his words, but his face gave nothing away. On August 1st, I decided to take my bug box to the park and catch bugs all day alone. The breeze blew in the lawn, and I loved the way they looked. It was one of the big free ones. I wanted to show Sam. Sam, I found a bug! No answer. I waited before proceeding up the stairs. Sam! Again, no answer. I peeked into his room. I found it vacant. There was that box, re-duct tape sitting in the corner. Oh, I was eyeing that box. I was challenging it. You don't scare me. I can open you if I want you to be opened. I was on a mission now, but there was a mystery to
Stood out to me. I always wished I had one of those as a kid, you know.
Hannon, you were a weird kid. It would be less of a cute thing and more of a, this is concerning, possible future serial killer activity. Sorry.
Well, anyways, introducing our next performer with her serious piece, Callie Harris. Woo!
I swooned the first time I met Carlo. I actually did. Now, I didn't faint or fall, but my legs went all rubbery on me, and I giggled. Carlo Spencer. He was standing over there, leaning against the wall. He was elegant. Now, I know that is a word that doesn't seem to figure, but that's what he was. I didn't know he was going to move away from the wall and walk. I didn't know he was going to stand in front of me, because I didn't even have time to dream it. Do you want to dance? I let him sweat approve it. Yeah. His hands rested on my hips as he spun me around and around. And I put my head on his shoulder. He had me. Being hit by Carlos for the first time knocked everything else out of me. Due to COVID-19 and the forced quarantine has opened a new world to seeing the worst in people. And an article posted in April by the American Journal of Emergency Medicine, more conditions such as mental illness, post-traumatic stress disorder, and alcohol abuse have been growing at a higher rate. Seeing that couples are stuck in a small space together for a long period of time can lead to one individual overpowering the other in a verbal and physical way, also known as domestic violence. This is Ask Me, an excerpt from The Woman Who Walked in the Doors by Roddy Doyle. It's all I remember now. It became the most important thing. It became the only thing. One day I was giving Miss Paula Spencer, a young wife, soon moving to a new home, and making her husband's dinner, telling me just for him to come home to. I was a young, attractive woman with a loving, attractive husband who was bringing home the bacon with a smile on his face. And then I was on the floor. And that was the end of my life. The future stopped rolling in front of me. Everything stopped. He lost his temper and hit me. He lost his temper and he hit me. He sent me flying across the kitchen. I hit the sink and I fell. I knew nothing for a while. Where was I? Why am I on the floor? Oh my way. And then I saw his legs and his face. He seemed miles up, and I had to bend back to see him. You all right? His eyes were studying every inch of my face, looking for any scratch mark or trace of blood. You fell. I didn't. I fell. And looking at it now, 20 years later, if I hadn't done what he wanted, if he was in one of his moods, or if I was acting smart, he simply drew his fist back and hit me. It's plain and simple. He draws this back and smashed me. Something had gone wrong. I fell. I had been too near him and I didn't realize. He didn't know his own strength. He had things on his mind. I keep blaming myself. After all these years of broken bones and teeth and torture, I keep blaming myself. And I can't help it. No questions asked. Just one question. I would have told him everything. In the hospital, please, in the clinic, in the church. Broken nose, loose teeth, cracked ribs. Ask me. He once asked me how I got a black eye. Where'd you get that? What? It was a test. And I was thumping on the inside. There was only one right answer. I walked into a door. Is that right? It looks sore. It's not too bad. Good. I walked around in emptiness. People looked away as I wasn't there. They stared at the bruises for a split second, then away. Over the shoulder, then away. No one looked. I stared everywhere else, and I could walk down the street or be sitting in a church. I could walk through crowds of all these people. But they couldn't see me. I would have told them everything. Just had to be the right question. I tell you everything! Look at the bird! Please! Ask me. Just one question. I told them everything. I told them everything. I swear to God, if they would have asked, I would have whispered it. He gives me that, he burned me, you didn't save me. When he wasn't hitting me, he was reminding me that he could hit me. Reminded me. And getting me ready. Someone once told me that we never remember pain. Once it's gone, it's gone. It was a nurse. She told me this right before the doctor came in to put my arm back in its socket. She was being nice. She had seen me before. I fell down the stairs again. I said, sorry. Ask me. Thank you.
What an amazing performance from Callie. You know, that talent got her to be one of the other semifinalists at state.
This next piece has a bit of an interesting story, as this piece about poverty was constantly performed with a trust fund baby at the back of the room. We can only hope that that's not the case this time. So, introducing the other state placer, Lucia Shin, with her piece on poverty.
head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard. 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. It is so easy to judge. Those in poverty are looked down upon and blamed for their own circumstance every day. Renowned author Dr. Ruby Kay writes, "Poverty is relative. The notion of poverty and wealth only exists in relationships to known quantity or expectation. We have to create a less judgmental world, a more caring world. We do this by listening to their words. So listen to these words. From 4 generations of poverty, this is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, and If, A Big Word with the Poor by Donald Blakely. I'm 6, and I was born to poor folks. I don't even remember getting a choice. Yet, if I had a choice, I think I'd choose these people over again. Their holding warns me their love puts joy in my day. I don't understand poor yet. They don't make me feel poor. You do. And I don't understand why that's important to you. Will you tell me why? If dirt and dirty things weren't my only toys, I'd live the kind of life you seem to understand. Live the kind of dirt you see on TV commercials. The kind that only gets into spots on my clothes and comes out with a miracle treatment of detergent. Dirt on my body would be a smudge. A cute dirt that shows, after all, I'm a child. That dirt is temporary, adorable, instantly removable. Almost a kid's status symbol. That dirt is another world. Not mine. My dirt is embedded, constant, smelly, always, forever, eternal dirt. I'm 16, and my clothes are washed in the kitchen sink, cold water, no soap. With my mother, it's always been a choice between soap and soup, the same place where she just washed the diapers. Cold water, no soap, and where she just washed the dishes, cold water, no soap, and prepared the meal. Cold water, no soap, and washed the kid. Cold water, no soap. The same sink, food, diapers, kids, clothes, dishes, and I'm sick. I'm not sick of dirt. I'm sick from it. I don't know how to ever get clean or well. And I'm 40. When I was a kid, I looked to the day when I would stop dreaming those wild hopes and I'd be old enough to make a real life out of unreal dreams. But sometimes I still catch myself thinking, maybe today, a big, beautiful car will pull up out front and the rich man is going to get out and say, I heard about you. That you're good and love your kids and are down on your luck. Come by the office. I've got a good job for someone like you. And of course he never comes. I know he never will. And if my love for your father hadn't given you life, would you really be better off? No! Not to live is not better than to be poor. Except for a few moments. For our poor men to become good men and saviors. And perhaps I've given the world in you another savior from some problem, a hurt or hate or two. I'm 80 and I'm tired. 80 years of trying to make amends for sin I didn't commit. 80 years of being hated for being poor. 80 years being punished for a series of tragedies. 80 years of being taught this lesson. No, son! The world is not better off without you because you are my son. And I offer you to a world that needs what you will learn and give. See, we who are poor have much to offer. To teach those who have much about a life not dependent on frills, about a life full of disappointment, yet filled with love and family. It's time now. Tell me, just what was it you were trying to teach me for 80 years? And tell me this. Does punishment for being born poor have to stay with me all my days? Thank you.
An amazing performance. It's nice to see my state placing here do well.
All right. For the finale tonight, we have Mr. McConaughey himself. Not Matthew, though. This isn't a Lincoln ad, and we didn't have it in the budget to get in. But you're in for a treat anyways, because Mason McConaughey performing his humorous solo act will be more than enjoyable for you.
They buried my wife in a shoebox in Central Park. I'd like to imagine that this service was respectful, that a modicum of dignity was given. But of course, I'll never know. I wasn't invited. Instead, the guests of honor were the students of homeroom 2K. Her killers. Compassionate, sympathetic, or generous behavior. The state or quality of being human. That is the definition of humanity. So question, if a man kicks a small dog, who truly is the animal? Animals, by Simon Rich. When the children return from the burial, they do tributes to my wife in magic marker, scribbles of halos, wings, and harps. It was hard not to vomit as Miss Hudson taped them above my cage. I've never seen such tasteless drag in all my life. Haley, I noticed, was crying as she drew. The irony. It was her responsibility to refill our water bottle last week. Instead, she spent all her free time with Alyssa practicing a clapping game called Miss Mary Mac. Miss Mary Mac, what? It was that insane chant that provided the sword to my wife's final moments. She was dying of thirst, but never cried once. It was only later I realized why. Her body was too dehydrated to produce tears. Pocahontas was her name. My name is Princess Jasmine. I am a male, so this name is humiliating. Pocahontas left me with 3 sons, and it's for their sake alone that I keep up my struggle. Their names are Big Mac, Whopper, and Mr. T. It's morning and the gremlins are hopped up on Pop-Tarts and primed for violence. For months, I assumed that this school was reserved for children with special needs, psychopaths, and the mentally deranged. But during parent-teacher night, the mink coats and suits told a different tale. It turns out this school is a private one, an elite institute for children of millionaires. My sons are still asleep. I lick their faces and conceal them the best I can. The bell clangs harshly. The nightmare has begun.
Monday, 8:25 a.m.
All right, class. What time is it? Job's time! My fur bristles as Miss Hudson takes out the jobs board. This laminated poster determines whether we feast or starve, live or die. I rub my paws impatiently while Miss Hudson assigns this week's tasks. Pencil organizer this week is Diane. Line mirror is Max. And our tea table wipers are Kristen and Sophie. Eventually, she gets to the one job that matters. Hamster feeder is... Miss Hudson then takes a deep breath and with one little word sentences my family to death. Simon! My eyes widen with horror. Simon Rich is a perky, hyperactive boy with some kind of undiagnosed emotional problem. Hamster feeder, what you talking about, Willis? The other children laugh hysterically. My God, I think, this is it. This is how it ends. 11:25 a.m. 3 times almost over. Don't forget to do your jobs. I sigh with relief as Simon finally walks over to our cage. He doesn't feed us, though, or replenish our water. And instead, he picks me up by the tail. The pain is so searing, it shocks me into some kind of perverse laughter. He swings me around while singing nonsensically in a high-pitched nasal voice. Gotta go to Moe's, yeah! Free time ends, and Simon just drops me back into my cage. For several times my own height, Simon has forgotten to do his one basic task. Our long, slow death march has started. 2:30 p.m. During science class, Miss Hudson unravels a large, glossy map of the solar system. There are 9 planets in the solar system. Which one do we live on? Uranus! Simon shouts. There's a split-second pause, and then the class goes into full-fledged chaos. I try to shield my sons from the noise, but it's too late. The monsters have heard a dirty-sounding word and cannot contain their excitement. Uranus! Uranus! The utterance of the word anus has provoked pure ecstasy. The bell rings, and the students go laughing through the door. Another day behind them. I watch in silence as my children drink the last remaining drops of water. We'll be lucky to make it through the night.
Tuesday, 8:25 a.m.
I wait to the sound of screeching laughter. Sophie and Alyssa have made a pink dress out of construction paper and taped it to my sleeping body. You're pretty good, Mrs. Johnson. A pretty girl. I try to remove the dress, but the tape is double-sided, and my palms are too weak to detach it. I must wear this dress indefinitely in the presence of my own sons. I avoid their eyes, and they avoid mine. Whatever dignity I have is long gone. 11:25 a.m. Miss Hudson started the day with a geography lesson. She asked the class which country is north of the United States. Simon raises his hand. Mexico? The teacher smiles. Almost. I watch in stunned silence as she hands the little moron a sticker, a reward for trying his best. Miss Hudson then turns to other students. What do we say when someone tries their very best? The other children smile and break into chants. That's all right. That's okay. We you anyway? I vomit bile onto my own legs. Is there one of them such monsters? They were taught they're insufferable and as blameless as gods. You forgot to feed the hamsters? That's all right. That's okay. We still love you anyway. I can feel myself on the verge of becoming insane. 2:30 p.m. During snack time, Teddy throws up. Miss Hudson calls for Carlos, the janitor. Hola! The children shout in unison. Carlos is a native English speaker. The little racists assume that he is foreign-born. When Carlos sees us, he refills our water bottle. I notice he has several tattooed cursive names on his arm. Before he can find our feedback, though, Principal Devport has run to the roof.
Ah, Carlos, there you are. A kindergartner shat himself and danced. Will you please take care of it?
Principal Devport gives Carlos a thumbs up.
Gracias. Wednesday, 8:25 a.m.
Mercifully, the children were given a field day this morning. The class was blissfully quiet until lunchtime. I can hear Simon's voice before he even enters the classroom, as piercing as a siren. What you talking about, Bliss? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? He enters the classroom and presses his face against the bars of our cage, and then repeats this phrase again and again. I only have a little strength left, but it's enough to raise up and sink my teeth into the monster's flesh.
Friday, 8:25 a.m.
Our cage has been moved to the principal's office.
Words do not express how sorry I am. Safety is our top priority. Never played that girl that something like this could hurt our school.
He had to get 3 stitches. The plastic surgeon says that the scar will be visible for months. He's just a little boy, and you let be exposed to wild animals. I want them destroyed. Principal Devport then picks up a phone and calls for Carlos, who arrives within seconds.
Hola.
I can smell the dumpster before I see it. Sorry, guys. Carlos he then takes his hammer from his tool belt, and he raises a tie above his head, and his sleeve slides down his arm, revealing the tattooed names. He didn't just these tattooed names, and then he puts away his weapon, and then he grabs our cage and runs. Such a I went to the site with 3 human girls gobbling pancakes and chatting rapidly. What do we name the babies? The mommy should be Miss Fluffy or it's Daddy. Before I call him Hercules. Carlos then crouches down and looks me into the eyes. Because he's tough and he's strong. And he works long hours, even though it's a living nightmare. Thank you.
Amazing performance, honestly. Easily makes you wish that we didn't ever have the option of getting the real Matthew McConaughey. But next, we're...
Cannon, just the person I want to see. Can you hold this for me for a second? You know, since you talk all the time about how you placed at state and you're only going to get a medal, I thought it was only fair I'd let you hold my state trophy for a little bit. Anyways, I am so proud of this team. Thank you all for coming out. As one of the few seniors on the team, I am just grateful to watch all the passion and effort that these underclassmen put into achieving their goals and, you know, really giving some amazing performances.
Only senior, thank God she's not coming back.
But, you know, this team has accomplished a lot, especially this year. And I know under Weiler, they're only going to get even better. Even if Weiler told me in canon we weren't allowed to do an entire stand-up routine. But I'm glad you all came out to help support us, help have an audience for some of these students who have not been able to perform in front of anyone else. And you know, we hope you come back next year when we're even better. Thank you.